Hey everyone, it's Dave, and I'm here to tell you about the extra credit possibility we have for our class. The extra credit is optional, it is not required, but it's a good idea to do it, and you'll find those points coming in handy toward the end of the semester, filling in the gaps for points missed during quizzes or perhaps even missing a quiz altogether. It's also important because you get to view art firsthand, particularly art that we're discussing in this course. So it's a lot different seeing art firsthand than seeing it in a textbook or seeing it on a computer screen. There's something that really is important about being able to engage a work of art with it right in front of you. Luckily, we live in Southern California, and we have several museums where they have artworks from the time periods we're studying. So when we look at the assignment here, it says from the list below, you need to choose one museum to visit. Plan your visit carefully, as museums have variable days and hours of admission. Also, consider the travel time, the price for admission, as well as for parking. And once at the museum, your job is to basically walk around, hang out, and engage with the works of art. It's your hour to go through and explore. And I can tell you from past experience, very few people spend an hour at a museum. They spend 2, 3, 4 hours. Many times they have to be kicked out at the end of the night because they're just so into it that they want to stay and really check out all the areas of the museum. When you get home, you're going to write an essay about your experience, and you're going to be turning that in along with a picture of yourself at the museum. So as far as the essay goes, I'm not looking for a very traditional or formal essay like you would be turning in on your weekly quizzes. Instead, the essay is going to be very conversational, as if you're having coffee with me and telling me about your visit. You still want to pay attention, of course, to spelling and grammar and the formatting, for instance, using paragraphs. You may write openly and candidly about your experience, and some of the questions below here are going to help you form your essay, particularly if you start to get writer's block. You're going to tell me, of course, which museum you visited, your reaction upon entering the museum. Maybe there was an artwork that you recognize. We don't really deal with artists so much in this class. Was there a particular artist, artwork, genre of art, or exhibition that attracted you? What did you like most or least about your visit? Were you able to apply anything you learned over this semester? And did you have any predispositions or stereotypes prior to your visit? Meaning that, did you just figure that the museum would be filled with gray-haired people with walkers and canes, because that's really what a lot of people think museums are, and they get there and they're totally stoked that it's a bunch of young people and there's music and an open bar and all of that going on, particularly on Friday nights. And the bars aren't free, but they are pretty well stocked, especially at the LA County Museum of Art. As far as helpful hints go, think of this as really an event that you get to be a part of rather than as an assignment you're doing for school. You should take family members and friends with you, and it's always cool to see what other people think of the art. Make sure to eat elsewhere. Unless you'd like paying $6 for a hot dog that really doesn't taste that good and another $3 for a soda, it's very much the same price format as sporting events, and that's pretty outrageous. So I always suggest eating elsewhere and then going to a museum or eating after your museum trip. At museums, have a cup of coffee, hang out a little bit, but for meals, I would definitely go outside the museum grounds. Make sure to dress appropriately. You don't want to be underdressed or overdressed at a museum. It's neither a club nor a campground. And with a lot of museums, especially on the weekends, there are celebrities that go to them, and I've had lots of students in the past send me pictures with them, with particular celebrities that they ran into. So you want to dress nice, but it's not the Sunday best, and it's also not cut-off jeans or sweats. Now, these museums that we get to go to are fairly far away. So you probably want to go when traffic's not a big deal. So Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings are usually really great. Make sure when you're at the museum, don't touch any of the artwork. You want to stay at least a foot away from the art. And never point pens or pencils at the artwork because the guards are worried about them being either hit by ink or accidentally being punctured by pencil lead. So don't point anything at the paintings particularly. And you also want to be a little bit cognizant of how you're taking pictures. First off, make sure that any flash is off. That will discolor the paint or pigment that is used, and definitely it will with pastels. So make sure the flash is off, and museums are usually pretty cool about photos as long as the artwork is not on loan or is not in a particular exhibition. And finally, don't talk on cell phones in the galleries because the galleries are generally pretty quiet. No one wants to hear your conversations. The museum choices you have, and these are in no particular order, but I do like to talk about the LA County Museum of Art. I worked there for a couple of years, so I have a little bit of closeness to it. And it's probably my #1 choice, just because it has all different aspects of art. Not only is it art of ancient civilizations, but different particular cultures such as Korea, Japanese, Chinese, Latin America. But it also has art of later times, all the way through contemporary art. So if ancient art isn't your thing, and I totally get that, that's cool. Make sure you do see some ancient art, but you're free to explore the museum. The idea is that you're dealing or engaging with art and that you're having a good time. This is on the western part of Los Angeles on Wilshire Boulevard, so unfortunately it's not really close to a lot of major freeways. You do have to travel some ways away to arrive here, and it's pretty steep in terms of pricing. Make sure to always bring your student ID because you do get a discount, and parking is no longer $12. It's been bumped up to $16 recently, so keep that in mind. But it really is a fantastic place to visit. You might also consider parking along the streets that have metered parking. Be careful parking in front of the museum because that is then a no congestion zone. And at certain times, if you're parked there even with a valid parking space in front of a meter, they will tow your car. So be very careful about parking on Wilshire. Now, the Getty Villa particularly focuses on Greek and Roman art, and this is the Getty Villa along Pacific Coast Highway. It is not the one in Santa Monica that's up on the hill. That's a great museum to go to also, but not for this assignment. That has more current art from Renaissance and Baroque periods of time rather than ancient civilization. So only the Getty Villa is available for this project. Admission is free, which is wonderful, but you do have to reserve your tickets online and you do have to pay for parking. But besides that, you can fit 4 people in a car and it's $15 to park, so it's a great deal if you're bringing friends or family. Then we have the Norton Simon Museum. It is limited on art of our time period. In fact, it really has a lot more Eastern art of ancient civilizations, but I also care a lot about the Norton Simon Museum and always try to suggest people go there. It is the closest museum to us. It is in Pasadena at the corner of Orange Grove and Colorado, where, if you watch the New Year's Day parade, that's where the floats turn, and the building in the background is the Norton Simon. With student ID, it's free to get in, which is a really great deal. And parking is also free, so it fits into the student budget. What's great about this museum also is it's a collection of one person. and it does kind of go toward his interests, which is modern art. So definitely take a look through all the galleries, and that's kind of on the entrance floor. Then there's a floor underneath, that's kind of where all the ancient art is, so definitely spend some time there. And they do have a pretty cool sculpture garden out in the back behind the pond. There's also a snacks shop there, or a small coffee stand. So definitely that's a good choice also. The fourth alternative is if you happen to be traveling in the next few weeks, you're going to a major city such as Chicago or New York. They have museums there also that have work that we're studying, and all you have to do is run the museum by me, and I will tell you yes or no. Museums that really wouldn't qualify would be contemporary art museums such as the Broad in Los Angeles. We do want something that has ancient art. The essay that you turn in the upper left-hand corner, your name, you're going to label it extra credit, and then you're going to start writing. 20 to 23 lines, make sure it's typed, double-spaced, 1-inch margins, regular size font, 10-point font, I should say regular type, meaning Times or Times New Roman. Make sure to use paragraphs. Please proofread your paper. That makes my grading so much quicker, and I appreciate that. Make sure not to use slang in academic writing either. The word is legitimate if we're using academic writing. When you and I are talking, it's legit. That's cool, but remember, legitimate in writing. The word artwork is one word, not two. And when we talk about artwork, we can either say artwork or work of art. It is never a piece of art and definitely not a piece of work. If you do use titles in your paper, make sure to italicize them. The essay that you turn in, again, is just one page. And then behind that, you're not going to staple it since you're going to submit it online as a digital copy, but you want to include a picture of yourself, either as a separate JPEG file or in the Word document. Either is fine. I'm not looking for a close-up of your face, but rather you at a recognizable area in the museum. This project is worth up to 30 points, so it is the average quiz score, and it's due by Sunday, December 10th. No late projects are accepted. That's right at the end of the semester. I've also included an essay here of what a previous student wrote, and these are examples of, as I just lost it here, of previous students who have gone to museums. The top two, that's at the Getty Museum on top of the hill. That's not going to be a place where we can go for this assignment. In the center there we have LACMA at the left and the Norton Simon at the right. And then again the Getty Museum at the bottom left and LACMA at the bottom right. A lot of students like to mimic the sculptures or artwork, and that is totally cool. I have a huge selection of images of students doing that, so I'm happy to add you to that collection as well. But either way, that's the extra credit assignment, and I do hope you take advantage of it. So with that, have a great night, and I'll see you soon.